But let's move on to the game, because Inter did finally play a game. And it wasn't Bologna, but it was Lazio. Lazio were the only team to have defeated Inter so far this season in Serie A. And Lazio obviously were the team under Simone Inzaghi last season, caught between different ideologies. Are they a Sarri team? Are they still an Inzaghi team? Who are they? We don't know. Inter, of course, winter champions and a beautiful team, and managed to win 2-1. But they suffered a bit, didn't they?
They did. To me, Inter were very clearly the better team in this game. I think there was what
Yes.
made it Inter suffering was just that after they took the lead through Bastoni, Ciro Immobile scores a goal, which was a very Ciro Immobile goal. It was very opportunistic, and like he's good at it. And then they didn't have the lead for a long time. And of course, the longer you don't have the lead against a good team like Lazio, who have a player like Ciro Immobile, who you know can punish you that one time you give him a chance, that breeds some anxiety. But I never felt like Inter were anything other than dictating the game overall. I always felt like Inter were again, aside from that simple fact of the scoreline and the potential, the goal scoring potential of this Lazio team, I never felt like Inter were not in control of the game personally. I thought it was interesting the way the goals did come, with both of them being scored by centre-backs and the second one being set up by a centre-back as well. Just a brilliant cross, I thought, from Bastoni. And I loved Skriniar's celebration afterwards. It was a great outside the bar.
Wasn't it amazing?
He celebrated like he really meant it, you know? Like, I love it when players, none of the sort of pre-orchestrated, pre-planned celebration, just letting all of that flow out of you because you're so excited. I felt like he was in the moment. And look, this certainly, we're at 8 consecutive wins now, but this was not an occasion to dissuade me from the fact that Inter remain, going into the second half of the season, very much the strong favourites to go on and retain this title.
I mean, frankly speaking, I want Inter to win the Champions League now, just because, like, I just see them play their football and I think it's a remarkable team. And also because any opportunity for me to try to explain that Antonio Conte's, this is such an upgrade for me to Antonio Conte's team. I think he definitely laid the groundwork on a mentality level, because you can see how much Inter are a mature side that don't ever get flustered, that never worry or panic into anything. Everything is done with control and measure, a good temperament in the side. Could have a lot to do with the fact that Vidal's not starting games, but it is a team that is so impressive in the sense that on this occasion, it was their centre-backs scoring their goals, assisting, scoring goals, playing forward. You find the forwards partaking in defensive work off the ball. It is a side that is like total football all over. There is nothing that these players can't seem to do. Bastoni is the 16th goal scorer of the season. This is a team that has kept, a clean sheet for so many. Obviously, Ciro Immobile is always a guy that you probably can't keep a clean sheet against, but up until him, they had kept 587 minutes without conceding a goal. It is a remarkable team. And I love the fact, like you said, the celebration, because despite that, they are not a team that reckons itself. It's a team that celebrates every victory going forward, every moment of happiness, whether it's Dumfries doing something exciting, and at the time they all celebrated with him to make him feel confident. It's Skriniar and Bastoni on this occasion talking about, should he buy him dinner? There is a genuine happiness within that squad. And when Bastoni says we're really having fun, you can see that. And when you have that kind of harmony in the dressing room and on a tactical level, it's so unpredictable and exciting to watch. I feel like this team should win the Champions League. Obviously, I don't know. I guess the only other side of it is I'm genuinely worried about Lazio. I know that they made Inter suffer, and they have some great players in there, but I don't know who they are at the moment. I feel like they're really struggling to show Sarri's football, or to try to because they sometimes revert to who they used to be, and I don't think they really know who they are. They've conceded 39 goals in 21 games. This is the 7th defeat of the season. Like, I don't get why they're in such a rush to keep, like, you know, to extend the contract of Sarri. I just feel like, are we sure that this is the team that he can really work with? How many more players should you bring in? Because they're having cash flow issues. And you can see that's visibly irritating Sarri because he doesn't have the players he wants. Going forward, is this a side you trust? Because I never know what to expect from Lazio.
Yeah, well, I mean, talking about cash flow, and let's not forget that since we last made this podcast, Mina, Lazio's owner, Claudio Lotito, finally had to relinquish control of Salernitana, a situation that should have been resolved a long time ago. But no doubt feeling aggrieved, as he always does, Claudio Lotito. Look, Simone Inzaghi is a very good manager. I think we knew that before he came to Inter, but I think he's really proven himself already this season in a way that he couldn't do at Lazio, right? Just because he'd been at Lazio, he'd built most of his reputation at Lazio. We needed to see him in a different context to know, because not that it isn't impressive to exceed expectations at one club, which for me he did a lot at Lazio. I think he was well above the expectations there. But you prove yourself that you can do it in a different context, it raises you up again. And I think that it was in the same way that we thought it was going to be difficult for someone to come in and fill Antonio Conte's shoes. The reality is it was going to be difficult for someone to come in and fill Simone Inzaghi's shoes at Lazio, right? Like, there's not many managers that I think would have walked in there and suddenly done a better job than he was doing. Whether or not Sarri is doing a good enough job, whether or not he's someone who I have faith that that project is moving in the right direction, yeah, I'm with you. I have a lot of reservations. I think there's lots of pieces in that team where I struggle to see how things get better, and I can imagine how things get worse, right? So Ciro Immobile is brilliant, remains brilliant, has been brilliant for a while. He's still scoring goals. Where does Ciro Immobile go from here, though, right? Like, there's no way that he can really go up. And over time, it's easy to see how he goes down. Like, because like everybody, he is subject to time and age and everything. It's not happening yet. He's still playing at a very high level, but where's your trajectory? And then I look at a player like Milinkovic-Savic and I think to myself, at times, still such a commanding player. I thought this was not one of his better games. I think he's had better games, much better games than this recently. But has it taken a step forward in all of these last sort of few years of Lazio? And that, counts under Inzaghi as well. Like, I feel like he might have peaked a couple of seasons ago, maybe even 3 seasons ago, actually. And yeah, but I certainly don't feel like under Sarri this season there's been some great revelation of Milinkovic-Savic, some great, well, now we're playing Sarri ball, and I'm finding some untapped resource that I didn't know about before. And it just feels like a lot of that all through the side, right? Felipe Anderson obviously went away, has come back. He still does some good things, but do I think that he's a cornerstone you're going to build this team on? No. Where are the cornerstones of this next great Lazio team? Luis Alberto, for me, definitely is missing. Simone Inzaghi is not playing at the levels he has before. So I don't think it's a disaster, this Lazio team, but I do feel like it's drifting a bit at the moment. And it's such a common conversation that we have. Like, everywhere Sarri goes, there's always this conversation about he needs time. You've got to let him get his ideas in, and maybe next season, if he's still there, it will look different. But I don't have that sense at the moment. It doesn't feel like it's coalescing into something. If anything, it feels like it's just gradually drifting away from something that was really, really good for several seasons into something that's, I don't know, just fine, but not something that's a team that's going to keep pushing on and pushing for Champions League places.
I never do understand when teams take such a different approach, and I think that's probably how I feel about Lazio is sort of how I feel about Roma as well. It's like you had a more, I mean, it's vice versa, because Roma had a more holistic approach, as someone on Twitter wrote to me, a sort of Maurizio Pochettino style of coach, who was like raising what he had and developing the youth and the youngsters that he had and made them tactically versatile and all of this. And then moved straight on to this guy that wants to win, and it's about mentality and perhaps less tactically versatile. And I feel like what you have with Lazio is a very clear identity that they've had for several years now, and very clear ideas on how they play their football, which is more direct, which is, a lot of, high tempo, to something that's more about taking your time on the ball and circulating until you find the right option, and triangles that they're not really equipped to do. And I always wonder why clubs deviate so much from their identity, really.